Hello and welcome to my video on sodium glucose cotransporter 2s. I will provide an overview of this medication class for anyone interested in learning more about them. This class of medication is pretty decent for helping with sugar control, as well as some other pretty notable uses. This video should prove beneficial to anyone looking to familiarize themselves with these medications. Okay, so I'm not going to be calling them sodium glucose cotransporter 2 this whole time. We will call them the SGLT-2s. There are basically 4, with 5 in the class in total. They essentially help you pee out sugar to get rid of it instead of keeping it in your system. So the main purpose of these, or what they were intended for, is sugar management for diabetes. They are pretty good for lowering the blood sugar, typically about a 1% decrease in the A1C, which is a good amount for a diabetic drug. They are also really good for the heart. They can reduce heart attacks, strokes, and even lower the chance of demise through heart problems. They seem to show even better results in those that also have heart failure, so all in all, a good cardiovascular benefit. Diabetes and the heart aren't the only thing they are good for, though. SGLT2s are also good for the kidneys, which of course ties back into diabetic and heart benefit. Especially with long-standing kidney issues, they can even slow the progression of disease. Now, someone doesn't have to have diabetes for these to help with the kidneys, but they do work better in someone with both diabetes and kidney issues. They are also good with weight reduction. Not as good as the GLP-1s, but still have a decent benefit, and certain liver conditions can benefit with these medications as well. Okay, now to talk about how they do what they do. So they are called SGLT2 inhibitors, so they stop the SGLT2 protein from functioning as intended. This results in the sugar that is filtered through the kidneys not getting reabsorbed back into the blood, and instead pushed out into the urine. That is the main important function of these medications. Switching over to some of the side effects, the big one I want to hit on is an increased risk for urinary tract infections or UTIs and yeast infections. This actually makes perfect sense if you think about what we just learned and how they work. All that sugar is getting peed out instead of being reprocessed in the body. So bacteria and yeast really like sugar, just like most of us, and they thrive in all that extra sugar in the bladder. The risk can be significantly decreased if the person taking these stay very well hydrated. This prevents the sugary waste from sticking around for too long and lowers the chance for the bacteria to get too comfortable where they shouldn't be. Although these are good for someone with chronic kidney disease, other people with lowered kidney function really shouldn't use these after a certain point because SGLT2s do still work through the kidneys. These can also increase the risk for a sudden kidney issue, especially if used with NSAIDs, diuretics, and things like ACE inhibitors and ARBs. These can increase the risk of leg and foot amputations, especially canagliflozin has been shown to do this. Cholesterol can be mildly increased on SGLT2s also, and these really should not be used during pregnancy. These aren't really bad for causing hypoglycemia or dropping the blood sugar too low, but in combination with other diabetic medications, this risk is still relevant. Canagliflozin has been known to increase potassium also. Okay, let's round this out with some highlights. The dosing of these is based on kidney function, for obvious reasons. They should be taken daily in the morning. Food doesn't really matter with these except for canagliflozin, but as a whole it is best before the meal. Talking about food though, someone cannot do a low-carb diet on these. It is not safe. It will most likely put them into something called ketoacidosis, and the urine ketone tests that are used to check for ketoacidosis will give a false negative while someone is taking SGLT2s. So a false sense of security mixed with a medical condition is never a good combination for a person's well-being. Overall, these are a little hard on the kidneys, but can still show benefits with certain kidney issues, which again is just one of the many reasons to stay hydrated on these. It is a must. SGLT2s are actually a pretty good class of medications for diabetes. The actual chances of side effects are relatively low if addressed, and the benefits are pretty good for sugar levels and the heart. With that said, I hope this overview of the SGLT2s has benefited you in some way or another. I do release videos fairly regularly on medications and pharmaceuticals, so if you like quick, concise overviews, I hope you subscribe so you can keep benefiting from my videos. Have a good day.